Welcome back, everyone, to this last, sixth, and final day of Physics 101. Thank you so much for being part of this class. I've enjoyed communicating with you and seeing your answers and the work that you've done. You've all done an excellent job. Today, in our last final day, we want to go back and review a little bit of what we've learned so far. And after we do that, there are just two things left to do. The first one is your final test, which you will find. I created it using Google Forms, so it's right there in Google Classroom. You'll click on it and take that test. It won't, and then you'll submit it. You won't see that you've done it. So just like the Google Forms we've used so far, if you re-click on it, it will actually open up a new one. Don't let that confuse you. If you've taken it and submitted it, it is done. I will get it. And I will grade them as soon as possible so you can get your feedback quickly. That's the first thing there is to do. The second thing there is to do today is a classroom evaluation. I cannot stress enough how much it would mean to me and to us if you would take a few moments to fill out this evaluation. It is asking questions about the form of this class. As you know, the one in Southern California that we're doing right now, this is the very first Google Classroom that we've ever done like this, online and remote. So it'd be really, really, really helpful for us to get your feedback about what worked for you and what didn't work for you. Please don't worry about my feelings or our feelings or anybody else. We want to know the honest truth, what worked and what didn't. So there are a number of questions for you to answer, but I don't think it'll take you more than about 5 minutes to fill out. If you could do that for us, we would greatly appreciate it. It's also anonymous. I won't know who wrote what. All I will see is your responses, not whose name they're attached to. So please, 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 please take a few moments to fill out that evaluation for us. We will use that information to decide how we're going to go forward with this program and whether or not we'll be creating more classes like this. Thank you so much for doing that. All right, so back to this. The first thing we're going to do together is review what we've done over this unit. We're going to look a little bit at what we've learned, and then it will be time to take your test, and I know you're going to do really well. So at the very beginning of our unit together last week, we wrote up some objectives on the board. The objectives were, students will be able to identify Newton's 3 laws of motion and apply the formulas. They'll also make connections with everyday life. So I hope that you see how that has happened. We've talked together about Newton's 3 laws of motion. We also talked together about gravity. We have used force equals mass times acceleration and talked through what that means and the math involved in that principle. And we've also made some connections to real life. We've talked about how gravity affects us, how it affects the cosmos and the universe, how that first law of motion with Newton, how that explains why we need to wear seatbelts in a car, why your body continues to move through the windshield even after the car stops, if it stops too suddenly, because objects in motion will remain in motion unless acted upon by another new unbalanced force. In this case, that's your seatbelt. If you want, take a moment and rewind what I just said for the last minute, because that's one of the questions on your test. Hint, hint. Okay, so Newton's first law of motion and car crashes. We've talked about Newton's second law of motion and his third, and gravity. We've covered quite a bit together in the past 6 days, and I hope that you have, that you feel like you've really learned something. To look at that and to see what it is you've learned, we've got one last assignment for today before you do your test. I'm going to screen share with you and show you where it is. Our very first day together, we started a KWL chart, what you know, what you want to know, and what you've learned. Today, we're going to go back to that and fill in that last category of what you've learned. So one last assignment before your assessment. So let me show you screen sharing with you now. Right at the very top, you will find it underneath this video for today, this activity KWL chart. You're going to want to open this up. You'll be able to add into this L section and begin creating a list of the things you've learned. So here are some of the things we know, what we wonder about. We're going to fill this in with what we've learned today, or throughout the past 2 weeks. I'm going to go back now to my Google Classroom. Back here. Underneath that, you will find your assessment for today. Once you've done that little homeworky piece to remind you and us and think through some of the things you've learned, you're going to come here and take the test. And then here is the classroom evaluation. Once again, it would be a huge favor to us. Oh, I'm still screen sharing. There we go. There we go. Once again, it would be a huge favor to us if you screen share, and I will do my best to grade everything over the weekend so that you know how you did as soon as possible. Thank you all again for being a part of this class. I have really enjoyed teaching you, and I hope you've enjoyed learning some things about Newton's 3 laws of motion, gravity, and our natural universe. Thanks so much, and I hope to see you again for our next online class. Bye, everybody.